I'm having a second interview with Reverend Jane while I have her here as a captive audience. Now, I would like to ask, who started the church?
Well, the Calgary First Spiritualist Church was formed in 1915 by a group of people very interested in spiritualism, and they gathered around a medium by the name of Eva Gerard. Apparently she was very good, and there were different groups that gathered around her to form the Calgary First Spiritualist Church, and they met in rented halls. But after 5 years, they decided they really needed a permanent home, and they bought a little small Moravian church right in downtown Calgary, kitty corner from City Hall. So it was very centrally located, and they turned it into a spiritualist church by taking the cross off the top of the church, but they left the stained glass windows, and it still was a lovely church sanctuary. And it was purchased in 1920.
1920. That was over 100 years ago. So this church is 104 years old. Wonderful. Okay. All right. So what was the original name of the church?
It was always the Calgary First Spiritualist Church because it was the first spiritualist church that was formed in the city of Calgary.
Oh, wonderful. And now, what part or role did your family have in this church?
Well, my parents came during the dirty 30s to Calgary destitute. My father had lost all his lands, his cattle, and his butcher businesses in the Hanna and the Drumheller areas. That's how difficult those times were. And so when they arrived here, my dad was always psychic, and they both became interested in this church. And so my brothers, much older than me, went to the Lyceum or the Sunday school in the 40s, and I went in the 50s. So the family was involved, but particularly my mother, she played the organ or the piano. They had both in the old church from about 1940 to 1990. That's 50 years as the organist of this
1940 to 1990.
50 years.
Wow, that's wonderful. And what part have you played in this church?
Well, I came to the church as an adult in the 1990s because my mother had broken her hip, and I had to take her on her cane and carefully bring her to church. And I could see that there was some fundraising that was needed because the building was getting into real deep disrepair. And so that was my interest when I first came, was how can we do fundraising and fix this little building up? But it didn't take any time at all for me to become interested in spiritualism again. So I called myself a born-again spiritualist.
Wonderful. And now you have brothers and sisters. I know you have a brother, but do you have other sisters who became spiritualists as well?
Yes, I would say that of my brothers, my oldest brother had passed very young, and my other brother, perhaps he fell away from spiritualism and wasn't a spiritualist, but all the girls remained spiritualist all their lives until university. And then as soon as we went to university, we became atheists for a while. But you can always reverse that at any time.
I think you have reversed that.
Yes.
That's wonderful. Okay. Now, what role do you see yourself playing in this church, current time and down the road?
Well, currently I am a minister of the church, but 30 years before that, I've been working very hard to produce the 12 newsletters a year and to help with all the programs. There were so many things I did, and I attended everything. But now that I'm a minister and the age I am, I step back from doing so many things. But my prayers are with the church and the church people moving forward.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Reverend Jane. We really appreciate this, and we'll put it on our YouTube site. Thank you.
Darn well done,